Main lessons learned from last year and challenges facing the implementation of the project. Since July 2019, the Project Steering Committee meeting, there have been a number of challenges that delayed project implementation and lessons learned. This section will specifically outline these challenges and the adaptive management response applied. It presents those delays which occurred prior to the COVID-19 pandemic. Adaptive management post-COVID-19 will be addressed separately as that functions as a force majeure impacting project implementation. In response to the Steering Committee decision in July 2019 to send a request to GEF asking for a no-cost extension for the project for 6 months, the project was awarded that extension by the GEF Secretariat. The project management restructured the project implementation work plan and budget in response to that extension. The initial work plan did not account for several delays, and as a result, the project annual work plan and budget required modification several times. The extension of the project duration has allowed for extension of some activities, such as the monitoring missions for environmental flow. 4 additional field missions for the environmental flow monitoring were added, and contracts for national experts have been extended to allow for that. Additionally, this has allowed the project to accommodate unforeseen issues that arose subsequently. An example is the challenge faced for the river restoration project in Georgia that were significant, though unpredictable. Despite high-level ministerial, local, and regional government backing for the Saramula Constructed Wetlands Project and the significant investment of project resources to study the problem and propose the proper solution, it was ultimately not feasible. In late December 2019, the Ministry of Environment Protection and Agriculture of Georgia regretfully informed the project management that the Ministry of Regional Development and Infrastructure could not agree to the assignment of the allocated piece of land to implement the constructed wetland, as they had other plans in process for the same parcel of land. The lesson learned was that the influence of external institutions can take precedence, and identifying a new option requires flexibility, creativity, and collaboration. The adaptive management applied involves the project team working closely with the Georgian National Focal Point and GEF Focal Point to brainstorm and consider available alternatives to implement the river restoration demonstration project. The option of the restoration of the Oxbow Lakes in Kurtsinisi Park was discussed, and as an initial site visit was undertaken. This was the preferred option, as the property was already under the authority of the Ministry of Environment Protection and Agriculture, and the master plan for the restoration of the floodplain forest had strong political backing from the ministry. Further, this effort matches the objectives of this output, and there was 100% in-cash co-financing allocated to this project from the ministry through the Georgian Wildlife Agency. There is also a guarantee of support and sustainability of this project post-project, as it is part of a wider restoration plan for Kurtsinisi Park. This option has been confirmed by the Ministry of Environment Protection and Agriculture, and the project is now moving ahead on this. In Azerbaijan, the River Restoration Demonstration Project to build a constructed wetland in Haji Gabol faced a number of delays that have impacted the execution. The lesson learned is to initiate discussions of sustainability options for post-project operation and maintenance as the prerequisite for a demo project selection. The adaptive management approach was to ask the UNDP resident representative to intercede on behalf of the project and appeal directly to the Minister of Ecology and Natural Resources to get a final decision from the ministry on that demonstration project. By the end of October 2019, facilitated by the Ministry of Ecology, Azersu agreed to assume the responsibility for the operation and maintenance, and procurement was finalized. In November 2019, The kickoff meeting was held with a local firm, TTT InShot Limited, and construction began. Unfortunately, the delay due to the procurement process has resulted in construction being started in the winter, which created difficult conditions and weather-related delays. Unfortunately, this delay has been compounded by the COVID crisis. Regarding the exchange of shared water indicators, it was agreed in March 2019 that specialists from the laboratories would visit their counterparts to conduct trainings as part of the work of the Regional Working Group on Shared Water Quality Indicators. A challenge occurred in the scheduling of the laboratory exchange visits for a specialist from Georgia NEA to visit Azerbaijan Hydromet to conduct training on pesticide sampling and laboratory analysis. The agreed time in December 2019 turned out not to be suitable because the laboratory restorations were not completed on time in Hydromet. The lesson learned is to be sure to consult all parties involved and to accept that construction delays should be anticipated. The adaptive management decision was to delay the training until early 2020 and unfortunately has not been able to move forward now because of the COVID-19 restrictions. The training will be on hold until the situation will allow for that to happen. In June 2019, the project team met with the IT department of Azersu Municipal Water. The team had been instructed by the director of Azersu to provide support to the development of the HydroHeroes app. Parameters needed to link the app to Azersu's existing information system, but could not be provided to us until November 2019. The lesson learned was that relying on external partners' timeline can impact project implementation. This emerged after the CTA and partnering organizations made a direct request to the director of Azersu as adaptive management. Immediately upon receipt of the updated parameters, the TOR and RFQ were finalized. That contract has been awarded and is moving ahead. This will shorten the time period for the implementation and monitoring of this effort. However, the contracted firm is believed to be able to make up this work quickly. Between May and August 2019, the project team made plans to co-host the 2019 conference of the Kura River Basin Academic Committee. Unfortunately, due to the complexity of this effort and logistical issues, the CTA made the adaptive management decision that investing project resources in this event would not yield substantial, sustainable results, and the decision was made to postpone the academic conference until 2020. In light of this and the close review of the original project document, Lessons Learned, the additional adaptive management decisions were made to further support conference seminars between the IWM master's students and faculty from Baku State University and Tbilisi State University. The first conference was organized virtually in May 2020, and planning for additional conferences is in progress. The project has experienced some shift in personnel. In December 2019, the Georgian National Coordinator resigned her position, and her replacement was only hired in mid-March 2020. The transition for this position has been relatively smooth. In January 2020, the international stakeholder consultant asked to be released from her contract due to other commitments. The project CTA and the communications officer, working with junior experts, have taken on her work for social outreach, and national experts have been hired to support the social marketing campaign, currently delayed due to COVID-19. In addition, in late February 2020, the regional project analyst began her maternity leave. In response to her absence, her workload has been divided amongst the other staff members. The project has happily welcomed her and her beautiful baby boy back to the project in late May 2020. The adaptive management response and lessons learned from these staff turnovers has been to assess the work done by the team member and reassign and/or rehire as quickly as possible. When the UNDP-GEF Kura II Project began, There was anticipation that the Helsinki Convention would be signed in Georgia, and the agreement between Azerbaijan and Georgia on cooperation in the field of protection and sustainable use of water resources of the Kura Basin under the Helsinki Convention would finalize negotiation, and the ensuing Kura River Basin Committee would be formed. The UNDP-GEF Kura II Project document included the provision of technical support and underlying capacity building to enable this commission to move forward. The UNECE has been charged with facilitating negotiations, but there has not been progress since the last meeting in October 2017. The Kura project has been working to build this capacity regardless and continues to facilitate intersectoral and regional cooperation within and between Georgia and Azerbaijan in the field of transboundary water resource management. The lesson learned is that linking too tightly to issues beyond the control of the project can be problematic and requires adaptive management. The adaptive management approach for this case has been to hold the Regional Project Advisory Group meeting in October 2019 to discuss post-project alternatives for continued cooperation without bilateral agreement under the Helsinki Convention. The adaptive management suggested by the participants from both countries is to continue the regional cooperation through memorandums of understanding between Azerbaijan Hydromet and Georgian National Environment Agency. This can be based on the agreement from the World Meteorological Organization and the 1997 agreement between the government of Georgia and the government of Azerbaijan Republic on cooperation in the field of environmental protection. The project is working to determine how effective these will be and if they can serve as the foundation for ongoing coordination post-project.